On today's show, NBA Western Conference Stock Watch, Denver Nuggets, Memphis Grizzlies, Sacramento Kings, Clippers, Lakers, and so much more. Which teams are you buying, selling, or holding stock of heading into next NBA season? It's all coming up right here at Locked On NBA.
You are Locked On NBA, your daily NBA podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up and welcome to another edition of Locked On NBA, the biggest stories with the local experts. I'm your host, Jackson Gatlin, also host of Locked On Rockets right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Now, today's episode is brought to you by Bird Dogs. First, Bird Dogs make you look good. Bird Dogs stretch khaki shorts are designed to fit slimmer through the thigh and leg, giving you a truly sculpted look, which, hey, for me, I need all the help I can get in that sculpted department. Bird Dog shorts do the exact same thing as Lululemon, but they fit way better. Basically, they created this anti-stink, sweat-wicking fabric that is both cool and dry all day long. They are honestly the most comfortable shorts that you will ever own and ever wear. They've got so many different kinds and styles to choose from. You can wear them. They're so versatile. You can wear them just hanging out with friends, wear them on a beach day or a pool day, swim in them. You can wear them out on a date night. They are incredibly versatile, and you can check them out. Just go to birddogs.com/LockedOnNBA or enter promo code LockedOnNBA for a free white tech hat with every single purchase. That's birddogs.com/LockedOnNBA or promo code LockedOnNBA. You won't want to take your Bird Dogs off. We promise you that. Joining us now is the host of Locked On Clippers, Darian Vaziri, who can track down wherever you listen to your podcast and on YouTube. Just search Locked On Clippers, here for a little Western Conference playoffs stock watch. So the way this works is we take a look at certain statistics, predictions, narratives, and we decide whether we're going to buy, sell, or hold on those predictions. And Darian, we're going to take a look at the Western Conference playoffs from this past season, where certain teams stacked up and how we think they're going to do relative to expectations this season. You ready to dive into it, man?
Oh, I'm ready.
All right, well, let's start off with none other than the defending champion Denver Nuggets, who clocked in this last year at 53-29, the number one seed in the Western Conference. Now, they did lose a couple very key pieces from their championship run. Bruce Brown, Jeff Green, no longer in Denver. Their win totals coming in at 53.5 via FanDuel. Darian, are you buying or selling Nuggets stock this next season?
Buying for sure. I still think the Denver Nuggets are the best team in the West. I think they're the best team in the NBA. Yeah, I still got them finishing number one. I haven't officially made a prediction or for standings or whatnot, but when I do, I can assure you that the Denver Nuggets will be number one on my list.
Now, see, I guess it's weird when we're doing, buy, sell, or hold. Do you think they can? Do you expect them to exceed their win totals in the West this year? At right now, they're 53.5. Do you expect them to go over that?
Yeah, I do think they'll go over that, actually. I know that sounds a little, I wouldn't say crazy, but to think they just won the championship, they were just the number one seed, lost Bruce Brown. Can they get more wins than that? I really think so. It's interesting that the number one seed in the West was only a 53-win team last year. I feel like throughout my life, it's been much higher than that, and I think that speaks to the parity of the conference. But I still believe that the Denver Nuggets will have more wins than that in the regular season. Whether they win the championship again, that's a different conversation, but I do think they will exceed that 53-win mark.
See, I'm so torn here because I think there's a very realistic world where there's not a single team that cracks 50 wins in the West this next year, because it's just going to be an absolute bloodbath. In that regard, I'm buying stock of the Denver Nuggets because I don't think they're going anywhere, and I think they're going to have a strong title defense. But as far as just the win totals are concerned, I might have to sell because I don't know if they're going to be able to exceed that 53.5 number. Now, things get a little bit more different when we go a little bit further down the list here. Going to the Memphis Grizzlies, who were at 51-31 this past season, the number 2 seed. Their win total metric, 46.5 games. So are you buying or are you selling, Darian, or are you just going to hold on the Grizzlies?
I guess I'll hold on that. That sounds pretty fair. Obviously, I think they're a young team that is improving, but the Ja Morant situation is a little bit tough to navigate.
Yeah.
5 games, I believe it is, without him. I do think Marcus Smart for Dillon Brooks is a complete upgrade, and I think that getting Brandon Clark, Steven Adams back will be absolutely huge. But without Ja Morant and no Tyus Jones anymore, I do think Desmond Bane's a great player. I think Jaren Jackson's a great player, but I think I'm not very I don't think they'll exceed that, but I don't know if I'm ready to say they'll be lower than that. I think they'll be right around that mark between 44 to 49 wins. I don't see them getting 50 this particular season, but I could be wrong.
Okay, so you're holding Clippers then at that number. I think I'm buying a little bit. I think I can see them going over that 46.5. I think I'm going to cautiously buy that number there. We get to our beam team next. Sacramento Kings, 48-34. They were number 3 seed this past season. They're clocking in at 44.5. Are you buying or selling on the Kings, Darian?
You know what? I'm going to go with a little bit higher than that. I thought their number would be around 48 wins. The one thing that the Sacramento Kings really had going for them last season was that they were very healthy. I think that they had some of the best, injury luck of any team in the league. They're obviously a young team, very well conditioned. I know Mike Brown really made them practice full speed a lot more than other teams in the league. And I think they're a young team with a lot of confidence coming off last season. I know they'll have somewhat of a target on their backs, being that people know that they're good now, but the fan base in Sacramento is so excited after that last season. I think they've got so much positive momentum. I think Sabonis is approaching his prime. I think we see Keegan Murray take another step, and De'Aaron Fox is absolutely electric. And I think he's only going to have his best years coming ahead of him. So I am going to buy on the Sacramento Kings. I think they're going to be even better and a real shot at a second round team this year.
Also, I really think Chris Duarte is like a sneaky good addition to the Sacramento Kings. Like,
I forgot he was on the Kings.
Yeah, being able to bring him in for what they got. I mean, I want to say it cost a couple second rounders. I mean, that was, a great addition for them, a nice little depth piece to add in there. I'm definitely buying Kings stock as well. I think Kings can crush that 44.5 win total metric. Now, this next one's going to be really interesting because I feel like it's polarizing. It's going to go one of two ways. The Suns. They were 45-37 this past season. They're clocking it at 52.5 as far as their win total prediction. Are you buying or selling on the Suns, Darian?
I don't mean to sound redundant, but I think I'm going to keep it where it's at, just like I did with Memphis. I think that that's pretty fair. I think with Bradley Beal, the Suns will be a 50-win team, but I don't see them getting more than the 52 wins. So, you know what? See, part of me wants to say that they're going to get under that, but I really believe between 50, 51, 52 wins is around where they'll be. So I'm just going to keep it where it's at for that. And I think that'll be good enough for a top 3 seed, personally, the Phoenix Suns, just because I am a little bit wishy-washy on Kevin Durant's health, but having Bradley Beal and Devin Booker, I think you'll still be able to get that perimeter scoring. I think with Frank Vogel, now maybe, because clearly DeAndre Ayton and Monty Williams and Chris Paul, like that trio, the vibes just didn't seem right from the outside looking in. Now, of course, I don't watch Phoenix Suns games all that much. I watched all their playoff games, but I can see that the body language, it didn't feel right from before the season even began. I think maybe Frank Vogel and not having CP3 and Monty there anymore will unleash a better Ayton. So I think I'm going to go with keeping where it's at.
All right. Yeah, I think you look at where they were this past season, 45-37. They clearly had some chemistry issues all throughout the year. But that said, relative to what their prediction is at 52.5, I don't think they hit that. Like, I'm really torn on seeing a team actually eke out that many wins in the West. So based on that, I think I'm going to have to sell because I don't think they're going to hit the 52.5, honestly, out West. Last team here from the top 6 with clear-cut playoff spots safely tucked away. The Golden State Warriors eked out that 6th spot out West, 44-38. Their win total prediction comes in at 48.5. Darian, where are you at with the Warriors?
Going under, honestly. I really am. I don't think they're going to be a 50-win team this year. I think they'll be between 44 and 49 wins. And you said the number was what?
44-38.
That's the number that they predicted?
Oh, sorry. I apologize. 48.5 on their win total, win-loss record.
I'll go under because I really think they'll be like a 44, 45 win team. I really don't know about Draymond Green and Klay Thompson, another year older. They did not look very good in the playoffs, especially Klay Thompson, who I'm a really big fan of. And it seems like all indications are they're just going to run it back with that same starting 5 that is
another year older. Like it's
another year older. I mean, Andrew Wiggins looked good in the playoffs. Steph Curry looked fantastic, but you saw in that second round, he couldn't really make up for the lack of scoring production from the other guys, from Jordan Poole, from Clay, from Looney and Draymond not really being offensive threats sometimes in the half court. That's why they bring in Chris Paul now. But I don't know about this move, Jackson. I really don't know. Everyone has questions about this fit. I think it'll be decent come playoff time. I really think it'll help them a bit in moments come playoff time to have a stabilizing presence that really is, when you think of taking care of the ball, low turnover, Chris Paul's the poster boy for that in this era. But the fact that they still haven't seemed to designate who's starting and whatnot.
It's just a gigantic question mark at this point. I don't even know if the Warriors know what they're going to do yet at this point. The Chris Paul trade, the moment it happened, it was exciting and it was confusing all at the same time, right? A lot of expectations for, okay, Chris Paul's running the second unit. And then there was some language about it. Like, I don't know. I really don't know what to expect with that team. However, I think it's hard to count against the Warriors. But I think I'm with you. I think I'm going to have to sell. I think I'm going to have to sell relative to how the rest of the West is going to look. And this was a team that didn't get there, lost almost 20 straight games on the road or something insane this past season. Like they have all the makings of a veteran team that's got like the winning hangover that's just kind of on the organization because they've done so much winning this past decade. They're just ready. They're one of those teams that's the definition of just get us to the playoffs and we'll figure out the rest later. So as far as regular season win totals go, however, I completely glossed over, and it was just the worst possible time because I've got our Locked On Clippers host here, and I just slid right past the Clippers at number 5 when I was going through my standings over here. So we had the Clippers at 44-38 as well, but they were the 5th seed this past year. Their predictions coming in at 46.5. Darian, our resident Clippers expert, are we buying or selling Clippers stock?
I would keep that where it's at. If I was a neutral, and obviously I would love to see them get more, but I think that's a safe pick right around there. A couple wins more than last year, given that our roster is just a little bit better. It's a little bit more simplified in the sense that I remember talking to you last year and we had so many pieces. I just didn't know who was going to play where. John Wall, Kennard, Norman Powell. But now it seems like Bones Highland will clearly be the backup point guard. Mason Plumlee, backup center from day one. And then most importantly, Russell Westbrook from day one. A major upgrade over Reggie Jackson. Major. So, and hopefully Kawhi Leonard healthy from the beginning of the season, not having a 20-game setback. So I think it's safe to say the Clippers will have a better record than last season. But I think if I had to pick, just because of the injury question marks with Paul and Kawhi, I think 46 is a solid bet. But yeah, I was wondering why you went straight to the Golden State Warriors. I thought, maybe it's something in the app that's saying it's by prediction of wins in order, not. Then I was wondering, why the Grizzlies would have been second. So.
No, that was me just I'm reading through over here and I saw Warriors and I just completely glossed right past the Clippers, which is totally my bad. But Darian, we make it through those 6 teams, at the top of the pecking order this last year. We had a couple sells in there though, you and I both. Of those 6 teams, who do you think has the biggest risk of sliding the furthest of those 6 and just either completely falling out of the playoffs or really fighting for their lives in that play-in tournament bracket?
I think the Memphis Grizzlies because of the Ja Morant thing and losing Tyus Jones. And I think if I had to pick a team besides the Memphis Grizzlies, I would go with the Warriors. But I know there's going to be people that are watching this video that say, nah, man, it's your Clippers. Kawhi and Paul can't stay healthy. And you know what? That's totally valid. I think Denver, with confidence, I think they'll have home court advantage. And I'm saying that with confidence, which is I'm not jumping out the window on that one. And then Phoenix, I'm pretty positive will be a home court advantage team, unless Devin Booker or Kevin Durant has a major injury, which I hope they don't, just for the sake of, the competitiveness of the league. And then who was the other? Sacramento. I really believe they won't be a play-in team just because they do take the regular season so seriously, and they are a hardworking young team that I think got a taste of what success is like. And now I don't see them as a team that's going to totally fall off a cliff. I really don't. Maybe they won't be a top 4 seed, but they definitely, in my opinion, will be a 5 or 6.
Which of the top 6 teams from the Western Conference this past season actually fall a little bit lower in the standings? And then if there's teams that are falling, which teams ascend and get into that safety range of that 1 through 6 out west? You're going to have us covered for all of that and more over at Locked On Clippers. Darian, I appreciate you stopping by Locked On NBA with me.
Anytime.